The top stories tonight in One News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. arrives in Vietnam for a two-day state visit to strengthen bilateral ties of the two countries.
Marcos Jr. of former President Rodrigo Duterte accused President Marcos Jr. of alleged involvement in illegal drugs.
Senate leadership plans to file a case seeking a definitive end to what they claim as a fake people's initiative.
And 3 members of the United States Armed Forces stationed near the Syrian border have tragically lost their lives in the aftermath of an assault carried out by an unmanned aerial drone.
Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Monday, the 29th of January, 2024. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. I am Mariela Toza.
Also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am Bianca Quijano. In tandem with the Bagong Pilipinas kick-off rally at Quirino Grandstand in Manila yesterday, January 28th, the Duterte camp in Davao City held a prayer rally last night. This gathering aimed to bolster support for the ongoing People's Initiative campaign advocate for charter change. During this event, former President Rodrigo Duterte accused President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. of alleged involvement in illegal drugs. Kath Dumaraos will tell us why.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte expressed his belief that the true motive behind the People's Initiative or PI campaign is to keep the Marcos family in power. Duterte made these remarks during a prayer rally against PI in Davao City on January 28. According to Duterte, key figures behind the campaign include First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos and House of Representatives Speaker Martin Romualdez, who allegedly aspire to become the Prime Minister.
Ang nangyayari ngayon, hindi ang People's Initiative, kung hindi buying the people. Huwag kayong magpaloko. Alam mo, Parliament, ang ambisyon niyan, karamihan, galing kay Lisa Marcos, pati kay Romualdez.
Duterte didn't mince words, even mentioning the alleged involvement of former President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. in illegal drugs.
Bongbong bangag yan. That's why sinasabi ko na sa inyo ngayon, si Bongbong Marcos bangag noon, ngayong presidente na bangag natin ang presidente. Kayong mga military, alam ninyo yan. Lalo na yung sa Malacanang. Alam ninyo, the armed forces of the Philippines, alam ninyo, may drug addict tayo na presidente,
He also warned the president about the possibility of facing a fate similar to his father, former President Ferdinand Marcos Sr.
Nung ako'y mayor, pinakitaan ako ng evidence ng PDEA. Doon sa listahan, nandoon yung pangalan mo. Ayaw kong sabihin yan kasi magkaibigan tayo o hindi magkaibigan, magkakilala. Ikaw pumapasok kayo ng alanganin. Mr. President, baka susunod ka sa dinaanan ng tatay mo. Diyan ako takot, ayaw ko mangyari sa iyo yan. Mabur lang ako namang nagmamakaawa kasi it will divide the nation at magdugo itong panahon na ito.
Duterte urged the armed forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police to protect the Constitution.
I am calling now the armed forces and the PNP. Protect the Constitution. Trabaho ninyo yan. Huwag ninyong kalimutan. Kami, inyong dapat, you should worry about the nation.
Amid the International Criminal Court's investigation into the Duterte administration's war on drugs, Davao City Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte reminded President Marcos of the debt of gratitude owed to his father, which led to the burial of the late President Marcos Sr. at talibingan ng mga bayani.
Kanang ICC, gusto lang yun ako na igawas na rin. Timan-in ninyo. Inyong amahan ra ba ipalubong sa akong amahan? Kana na lang yun unta, pero wag gid ninyo. O na, ako, maganda personal lang yun eh. Mawataan di kong respeto ninyo.
The attendance of Vice President Sara Duterte and Senator Amy Marcos at the gathering stirred discussions. While the Vice President was in Manila for the Bagong Pilipinas kickoff rally of the Marcos administration, Senator Marcos reportedly did not show up at her siblings' event.
Malaki ang utang na loob namin sa inyo, mga kababayan namin, sa pagkakataon na ibinibigay ninyo sa amin na makapaglingkod sa ating pamahalaan at sa 6 na taon na suporta ninyo sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte.
Estimates suggest that over 50,000 people attended a prayer rally in Davao City. Kat Maraos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has responded to the serious allegations against him made by his predecessor, former Rodrigo Duterte. In a statement released earlier today, the president expressed concern over the reported effects of fentanyl on former President Duterte, suggesting that this is taking an adverse toll on the health of the ex-leader. JP Nunez details why.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has alleged that former President Rodrigo Duterte is taking fentanyl. According to PBBM, doctors of the former president should take good care of him as the effects of the fentanyl is taking adverse effects on Duterte's health. The president made the statement when asked to react on the allegations hurled against him by the former president.
I think it's the fentanyl. Fentanyl is the strongest painkiller that you can buy. It is highly addictive and it has a very serious side effects. And PRRD has been taking the drug for a very long time now. When was the last time he told us that he was taking fentanyl? Mga 5-6 years ago, something like that. After 5-6 years, that has to affect him. Kaya kalagay ko, kaya nagkakaganyan. So, you know, I hope his doctors take better care of him than this. Hindi pinababayaan itong mga nagiging problema.
Asked to categorically deny that he is involved in illegal drugs, President Marcos laughed and said,
I won't even dignify myself.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA has issued a statement asserting that President Marcos Jr. has never been on its drug watch list. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, has officially denied that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. was ever on their watch list. This comes in response to former President Rodrigo Duterte's claim that he had evidence suggesting President Marcos was included in PDEA's list. PDEA spokesperson Derek Carrion clarified that since the agency's activation on July 30th, 2002, and the establishment of its National Drug Information System, President Marcos has never been on their list. Carrion emphasized that even during the Duterte administration, President Marcos was not included in the PDEA watch list.
It is worthwhile to note that when the former president took over in 2016, his administration came out with a list which was then initially called the narco list, sometimes referred to as the Duterte or PRRD list. And upon continuing validation and revalidation, it became the Interagency Drug Information Database, or IDID. The name of President Marcos is also not in the said list.
Adding to the denial, the Philippine National Police, or PNP, also stated that they do not have the name of President Marcos in any of their drug watch lists.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution expressing strong and unqualified support for President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. This move comes in the wake of recent attacks from the Duterte camp against the chief executive. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
The plenary of the House of Representatives has passed House Resolution number 1557, expressing strong and unqualified support for President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. This comes in response to criticisms made by the camp of former President Rodrigo Duterte against the chief executive.
Expressing the strong, unqualified support of the House of Representatives to His Excellency President Ferdinand Bongbong Romualdez Marcos Jr. for his leadership and sincere commitment to steer the country toward a bagong Pilipinas, or the new Philippines, through responsive and efficient service for the benefit of the Filipino people.
The House resolution emerged in response to Speaker Martin Romualdez's defense of his cousin, President Marcos Jr., against the attacks launched by former President Duterte and his son, Davao City Mayor Sebastian Duterte. According to the House Speaker, the efforts to overthrow the PBBM administration are premature. He challenged the Duterte camp to prove their allegations.
So, unless we have proof na yung mga aligasyon ninyo na kung bakit nananawag ka dyan sa aking mahal na President Ferdinand Marcos na bumaba sa pwesto, sana mag-isip-isip muna kayo, at ilabas mo yung mga prueba, kasi alam natin hindi totoo yung mga sinasabi ninyo, walang katotohanan yan, di ba? Masyadong maaga naman ninyo yung gusto ipagbaksak isang rehimen ng President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Very popular siya, and he was elected with a bigger mandate than the former president.
In a strong call for transparency and accountability, the Speaker also urged the Duterte family to stop deceiving the public, emphasizing the need to respect the President of the Philippines. Mayor Baste wants PBBM to resign from his post, while his father, the former chief executive, accused PBBM of being included in the narco list of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA.
Tigilin mo na yung budol-budol nyo. Diba? Dapat seryoso na tayo. At igalang na lang natin ang ating presidente na trabaho na maiging masipag siya at talagang tinatrabaho niya yung magandang buhay para sa mga Pilipino.
In the end, Speaker Romualdez warned the former president to be careful, as he himself may have much to answer for during his term.
Baka meron kayong mga concerns or issues na kailangang iharap mo yung batas na baka na ilabag mo yung sa administrasyon mo, Pero tigilan mo na lang yan kasi yung Pilipinas nagtatrabaho ng maigi at nakikita ng buong mundo nakakaisa na ang Pilipinas. Kung kayo lang dyan sa Davao ay gumagawa na lang ng mga istorya.
Several House officials also responded to the call for the resignation of the president.
I think it's totally uncalled for. In the past 2 years, we have seen the performance of President Bongbong Marcos. We have seen how he has managed the economy coming from the pandemic.
We have to respect the office of the president, di ba? Tsaka nagtataka po kami bakit pinaparesign si President PBBM. Wala po tayong basihan.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. arrived in Vietnam this afternoon for a 2-day state visit. The primary objective of this diplomatic mission is to fortify the bilateral ties between the Philippines and Vietnam. Let's go back to Nel Maribuhok for his live report. Yes, Nel, good evening.
Good evening, Mariel. The plane carrying President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and the First Lady arrived here, landed at around 3:05 p.m. Vietnam time, where they were warmly welcomed by the Vietnamese officials. For his initial schedule, President Marcos visited the Vingroup Company, the largest private company in Vietnam, with a market capitalization of $21.1 billion US dollars. Si VinFast. VinFast, a prominent player in the automotive industry, has ambitious plans to sell and launch its electric vehicles in the Philippines through a dealership business model. Following the business meeting at Vingroup Company, President Marcos and the Philippine delegation took the opportunity to meet with the Filipino community here in Vietnam. And the President has already concluded his speech here in the gathering of Philcom, and the President emphasizes the government's measures to help the OFW. That is our update here in Vietnam. Back to you, Marielle.
All right, thank you, Nel Maribuhok, reporting live from Hanoi, Vietnam.
And for the news abroad, 3 members of the United States Armed Forces lost their lives, and numerous others are believed to have been injured following an assault by an unmanned aerial drone on American troops stationed in northeastern Jordan, close to the Syrian border, as announced by President Joe Biden and U.S. officials on Sunday, January 28. President Biden attributed the attack to Iran-backed factions, marking the first lethal strike against U.S. forces since the start of the Israel-Hamas conflict in October, which has reverberated across the Middle East. While we are still in the process of gathering information about this attack, we are aware that it was carried out by extremist Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq, stated Biden in a release. Rest assured, we will ensure that all those responsible are held to account at a time and in a manner of our choosing, he added. Later on, during a campaign event in South Carolina, President Biden requested a moment of silence for the 3 fallen service members and asserted, "We will retaliate." U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin reiterated the warning. He and other senior officials briefed President Biden on the attack earlier in the day. According to a statement from U.S. Central Command, at least 34 individuals sustained injuries in the assault. 2 U.S. officials disclosed that the drone struck near Tower 22 in Jordan, potentially explaining the substantial number of casualties.
Hungary's Our Homeland Party aspires to reclaim a western region of Ukraine in the event that Ukraine loses its statehood due to Russia's invasion. Charisse Longbowen explains why.
The leader of Hungary's far right has asserted autonomy for the ethnic Hungarians inhabiting western Ukraine's Transcarpathia if Ukraine loses the war. Our Homeland Party leader Laszlo Toroczkai made the announcement at the party's annual conference in Budapest on Saturday, January 27, adding that his party advocates for an immediate ceasefire, peace, and a resolution through talks regarding the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Budapest has previously clashed with Kyiv and has refused to support Ukraine at the international level until the former rights of around 150,000 ethnic Hungarians living in Ukraine are restored. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó will be meeting his Ukrainian counterpart Dmytro Kuleba and Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal in western Ukraine on Monday in preparation for a possible meeting between the leaders of the two countries. The Hungarian Foreign Ministry is yet to respond with comments about the far-right leader's remarks. Charisse Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Several senators welcomed the decision of the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, on bank suspending all proceedings relating to People's Initiative. In today's plenary session, Senate President Wael Migs Zubiri applauded the poll body as he reiterates the Senate's stand strongly opposing what they call a fake People's Initiative. According to Zubiri, they plan to file a case before the COMELEC to fully put an end to the controversial scheme.
Hindi pa tapos ang laban dahil nga hindi pa natutuldukan ang People's Initiative na yan. So we will be filing the necessary legal case that will show that this People's Initiative was flawed from the very beginning. Ang prayer po namin dyan ay maglabas na po ng desisyon ng COMELEC na itong particular initiative na to is flawed, unconstitutional, and therefore should be dismissed with finality.
He adds that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. himself will appeal to House members and other groups to stop push for the alleged fake People's Initiative.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, has suspended all proceedings related to the proposed People's Initiative. According to COMELEC, the suspension will persist as they review the guidelines associated with this matter. Dante Amento tells us why.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, revealed on Monday, January 29, that they found Resolution number 10650, or the implementing rules and regulations for the People's Initiative, lacking such as the provision or guidelines for withdrawal of signatures.
Sa ating palagay, may mga bagay po doon na kulang at wala doon sa ating pong guidelines. Katulad halimbawa yung rules sa mga withdrawal, yung rules sa mga opposition, yung rules sa mga notice, na sa bandang huli, kailangan po ito upang maiwasan ang problema, kaguluhan at hindi pagkakaunawaan doon sa interpretasyon ng mga provision ng ating rules.
Chairman George Erwin Garcia explained they need to revisit and enhance the rules which were promulgated in 2020. This is to avoid possible conflicts that may arise in the future.
Pagka pinagpatuloy namin ang rules, pagkatapos may problema, may kulang, lalo kaming kakasuhan. That's the dereliction of duty. This is an exercise of due diligence on the part of the COMELEC and Bank. Na nakita namin ang magiging problema, marapat lang na ito ay atin munang ihinto.
Hence, the COMELEC and Bank unanimously decided to suspend all the proceedings related to the said initiative that is intended to amend the 1987 Philippine Constitution. These include acceptance of signature pages being submitted to the COMELEC offices nationwide. However, those that have already submitted will remain under the safekeeping of COMELEC. Meanwhile, the poll body emphasized that their decision was not to give a favor to a certain group and no politics involved.
Sana po ay huwag makonsider na pinapanigan namin ang isang grupo as against sa another group. Kasi po ito naman pong ginagawa ng komisyon sa bandang huli kasi, alam nyo, ina-anticipate na namin. Pag dumating ang tamang panahon, masisisi ang COMELEC. Sana inayos nyo na yung una pa yan.
Dante Amento, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Of transport cooperatives has announced their intention to file a petition of intervention with the Supreme Court. Their aim is to lend support to the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Grant. JP Nunez will tell us why.
In a push for the full implementation of the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program or PUVMP, a coalition of transport cooperatives is making its voice heard. The first component of the PUVMP involving franchise consolidation has faced delays, having been postponed 8 times since 2017. In response, the National Federation of Transportation Cooperatives plans to file a petition for intervention with the Supreme Court to support the PUVMP. This move is in relation to a petition for a temporary restraining order against the PUVMP filed by the transport group Piston.
Sana kami naman pakinggan kasi kami na majority na yumakap sa programa eh. Napakarami na kaming yumakap, sir, sa totoo lang yan. Nationwide kami. Paano naman kung hindi itutuloy yung programa ng gobyerno? Paano naman kami?
Edmundo Cadabona, chairman of the National Federation of Transportation Cooperatives, explained that the continuous operation of unconsolidated public utility jeepneys or PUJs is negatively impacting their daily income.
Kakompetensya na sa kalsada, sir, yung mga consolidated na at saka unconsolidated. Magkakalaban nun sila sa kalsada. O malaking bawas sa kita namin.
He emphasized the benefits of the modernization program where jeepney drivers would receive appropriate benefits such as SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, and a 13th month pay. Cadabona highlighted concerns that if the PUVMP were suspended, transport cooperatives that have acquired modern jeepneys might face challenges in paying their monthly amortization, as subsidies from the government could also be terminated. The Department of Transportation has previously stated that the new deadline for franchise consolidation, set until April 30, would be the final extension.
Very disappointed kami doon sa nangyari na extension, sir. Dahil kung bibilangin natin, kung hindi ako nagkakamali, 5 to 6 times na na-extend tong consolidation na to. Kaya kami na nakapag-consolidate na, talagang medyo masama ang loob namin. Bakit in-extend pa ulit?
JP Nunez, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health has reported a significant decrease in dengue cases across the country. According to the agency's observations, there has been a 16% decrease in reported dengue cases from December 3 to 16, 2023, with 8,629 cases to December 17 to 31, 2023, with 7,274 cases. This downward trend continued into the new year with only 5,572 cases recorded from January 1 to 13, 2024. Furthermore, there have been only 14 recorded deaths. The Department of Health noted that dengue cases typically increase during the rainy season. However, there is still a possibility of recording dengue cases during El Niño, as Filipinos tend to store water in containers due to limited water supply. To mitigate this risk, the agency has issued a reminder to cover and keep these water containers clean to prevent mosquitoes from laying their eggs. Additionally, the Department of Health encourages the public to follow the 5S strategy against dengue.
In certain parts of the country, the cold weather persists due to northeast monsoon or amihan. The Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAGASA, anticipates that this chilly climate will endure till the month of February. In light of this, PAGASA advises the public to remain vigilant about staying warm at all times. Jed Neresina will tell us why.
The presence of the northeast monsoon or hanging amihan will persist, particularly across a significant portion of the country. Chris Perez, Assistant Weather Services Chief at PAGASA, has issued a reminder to the public to wear thick clothing whenever possible to prevent illness related to the cold weather.
Talagang nararanasan natin yung malamig na temperatura, no? Lalo na dito sa mga mountainous regions of northern Luzon. As much as possible, kung kaya nilang magsuot ng mas makapal na pananamit para makaiwas din sa mga normal na sakit gaya ng mga sipon at ubo pag panahon ng taglamig dito sa ating bansa.
Based on the forecast of PAGASA, it will still bring cold nights and generally fair weather, especially in the western section of the country. Perez said that the amihan season may last until the end of the month of February.
So itong current amihan natin, posibleng tumagal na hanggang sa kalagitnaan or bago magtapos ang buwan ng Pebrero.
PAGASA today recorded the lowest temperature in La Trinidad, Benguet, which dropped to 9.7 degrees Celsius. This is the lowest recorded so far since the northeast monsoon started in November last year. 19.9 degrees Celsius was also the lowest temperature recorded in Metro Manila last January 27. Temperatures are expected from 22 to 30 degrees Celsius in Metro Manila for the next 3 days, while 12 to 23 degrees Celsius is expected to be felt in Baguio City. Jed Neresina, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And in other global news, tensions heightened in the French capital as security measures were intensified on Sunday in anticipation of a mass gathering of farmers from across the country. The protests, organized by agricultural workers seeking improved pay and living conditions, have escalated over the past week, marked by roadblocks and reports of property damage. And to tell us why, here's Mavian Dog live from Australia. Yes, Maeve, good evening.
Good evening, Marielle. Farmers hailing from France, the European Union's primary agricultural producer, have expressed frustration over what they perceive as unfair competition from nations with less stringent regulations. Motorway blockages were set up as part of the protest strategy, drawing attention to their cause as incidents of property damage, including attacks on local government offices, have also been reported. In response to these developments, the Paris police announced increased security measures around Rungis and the Paris-Roissy airport, deploying approximately 15,000 police officers as part of the operation. Meanwhile, Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin assured the public that the measures were in place to prevent tractors from entering Paris, although he acknowledged the likelihood of disruptions in the Île-de-France region on Monday, January 29. In addition, Marine Le Pen, the French far-right leader and President Emmanuel Macron's political rival, visited demonstrators in northern France. Le Pen is advocating for withdrawal from free trade agreements that impact the farming sector. Despite the French government's recent decision to abandon plans to gradually reduce state subsidies on agricultural diesel and implement other measures to alleviate financial and administrative pressures on farmers, the demonstrators remain adamant in their demand for further improvements. Back to you, Marielle.
Thank you, Mavian Dog, reporting live from Australia.
In a move to address the rising number of youth using disposable vapes, the United Kingdom banned these products nationwide. According to data from the Action on Smoking and Health, or ASH, charity in 2023, 7.6% of individuals aged 11 to 17 are using disposable vapes, a significant increase from the 4.1% reported in 2020. This alarming trend has prompted the British government to take action, with Prime Minister Rishi Sunak expressing concern over the growing use of these products among minors. Sunak emphasized the need for swift government intervention to curb this concerning trend before it worsens. Last year, the UK government announced the prohibition of cigarette sales to anyone born on or after January 1st, 2009, as part of an effort to create a smoke-free generation. However, disposable vapes, often sold in more vibrant and appealing packaging than their refillable counterparts, have become a primary driver behind the worrisome surge in youth vaping. While the implementation date for disposable vape ban is yet to be confirmed, existing laws may be utilized to safeguard the environment. Once the directive takes effect, retailers will be given a 6-month grace period to comply with the new regulations. And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe.
Marcos ang Bahay. As the world faces these trying times amid the various challenges and uncertainties, we are inviting everyone to join the Global Prayer for Humanity from Monday to Friday, 9:30 p.m. Philippine time through the social media accounts of the members Church of God International.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word "Give glory to God" from the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 13. It says, "In the lip of him that hath understanding wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding." And the reasons behind the news, January 29, 2024. Reasons we deliver you as they unfold. I am Bianca Quijano, live from Edmonton, Canada.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am Mariela Toza, live from Australia. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Ang nangyayari ngayon, hindi ang People's Initiative, kung hindi buying the people. Huwag kayong magpaloko. Alam mo, Parliament, ang ambisyon niyan, karamihan, galing kay Lisa Marcos, pati kay Romualdez.
Kanang ICC, gusto lang yun ako na igawas na rin. Timan-in ninyo. Inyong amahan ra ba ipalubong sa akong amahan? Kana na lang yun unta. Pero wag yun ninyo. Oo na, ako. Magkano, personal lang yun eh. Mawatan di kong respeto ninyo.
I think it's the fentanyl. Fentanyl is the strongest painkiller that you can buy. It is highly addictive and it has a very serious side effects. And PRRD has been taking the drug for a very long time now. When was the last time he told us that he was taking fentanyl? Mga 5-6 years ago, something like that. After 5-6 years, that has to affect him. Kaya palagay ko, kaya nagkakaganyan. So, you know, I hope his doctors take better care of him than this. Hindi pinababayaan itong mga nagiging problema. I won't even dignify myself.
It is worthwhile to note that when the former president took over in 2016, his administration came out with a list which was then initially called the narco list, sometimes referred to as the Duterte or PRRD list. And upon continuing validation and revalidation, it became the Interagency Drug Information Database, or IDID. The name of President Marcos is also not in the said list.